tell me about yourself? Where do you come from and who is Refeloe?
First of all, I just wanted to say thank you very much for this amazing invitation to join you on this meeting and interview. Um, like you said, who is Refeloe and where does she come from? Refeloe is a 25-year-old from Attridgeville, born and bred, and a little bit of moving around here and there. So where I come from, I was born in Attridgeville, and I actually started in this travel industry as a trainee, actually. So I started working in the travel industry when I was about 18 years old, and I worked as an events coordinator, and I worked at Travel with Flair for like 6 years, and from there on, I got an amazing opportunity to work in the US, to work on a cruise ship, but that is actually a story for a bit later. So that is just a little bit about me.
Awesome, awesome. You have a very bubbly personality. I love it.
You. Thank you.
So tell me what do you love about tourism and what does your job entail? What do you do?
Okay. What I love the most about my job, first and foremost, is that it puts food on the table. That's why it's so important. It put foods on the table. And the amazing thing about my job is that I actually started working in the travel industry at a very young age. From the age of 18 as a trainee, and then until the age of like 19, that's when I was actually bitten by the bug of working in the events industry. And I'm actually very, very grateful for Travel with Flair for giving me the exposure. I remember I was actually once part of an amazing team that worked that worked on the Tropica Island of Treasure event that we had. It was a competition, so the whole exposure of just being out there and running around, being at the airport, I was always like the designated coordinator to welcome people at the airport or help people with their travel arrangements and everything there at the airport, and just working with events. So it's just been so amazing. And one other thing that I also love about my job is that like I've been carried and being raised under the wing of amazing women like my mentor Taming Gadimeng. And another thing is getting to interact with different people from different backgrounds. I think it's what also has contributed to my attitude, to my character as well. And the amazing thing again about my job is that it allows me to be myself. Like you said, that I've got a bubbly personality. I mean, if you're in the travel industry or if you're in the events industry, you need to have an outgoing personality. And I'm glad that I can actually get to go to work and not feel like I'm at work. I'm actually like, I feel like I'm at home. I feel like I can still be myself. I don't need to get into the shoes of somebody else. I still remain myself. And one other thing, I always say that I have a story to tell. Remember, I told you that I worked in the events industry and at Travel with Flair. So I did it for 6 years. And doing that, I got to work both in the office and I got to work as well in the field as well. And I did it for years. It was amazing. But one of my dreams was for me to travel overseas. And I remember when I used to stay close to work, there was a backpacker in Hatfield, and I would always go there because I wanted to hear stories about other people and where they come from. So I would always go there actually for drinks and just mingling and just meeting people so that I can also tell them my stories about South Africa, and I would actually take them around. So I'd just do it voluntarily. I'd just go there, meet people, take them out, show them what we have in Pretoria, or go to Johannesburg and this and that. And I realized, I think I've been hosting people for the longest of time now. And that was also in my spare time. So one of the days I actually met a friend of mine, Monique, and she was working on a cruise ship. Everybody wants to work on the cruise ship. And I thought, listen, by the age of 25, I need to have traveled. And I took the chance, left a permanent job where I have been working for 6 years and I was growing. And I thought, listen, if it's for my dreams, I am going to do it. I left the job, and I'm grateful for what they have done for me. But I was now venturing into something different. Now, I am a South African child going out there, facing the world. And it was just so amazing. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so nervous, but I'm excited because it's something that I've always wanted to do. So I left and I got a job to work for a Miami-based retail company. I was like, Refeloe, retail, this. But I was like, listen, girl, you're going to do it. I remember even on my interview, they told me, because of your personality, when you get there, tell them you want to be a shopping host. Retail is good for you because of your personality. You're good with speaking. You can relate to a lot of people, but also work towards being a shopping host. And a shopping host is someone who hosts events on the ship for the shops, and they talk about the brands that's on board. And the lady was actually like, you've got so much passion. So I went there. I was traveling around the world. I was working in retail, and guess what I was doing? I was doing my job, but everybody that came there from the Caribbean, from the USA, I would tell them about the beauty of where I actually come from. And I will tell them about my childhood. I would tell them, yes, come to South Africa, I'll host you. Come to South Africa, I'll host you. And it's so amazing to actually, because I've worked there for like 2 years. It's amazing that I've gotten people that would actually email me, or actually on my social media tell me, Refeloe, we've been to South Africa and it's amazing, everything that you've said. And it's amazing to actually hear that everyone wants to come to South Africa. So that is so beautiful. It's really, really is beautiful. And, when I was there, I've also learned something, when I was there, even prior to the COVID-19, my job has also taught me like to appreciate what I have. Like when the COVID-19 and cruising came through, and cruising was banned, like cruising became banned in March in the USA. So we had to stay on board. I was there for like 89 days. You can just imagine not going on land, not going anywhere, just in your room, quarantining, like a lot of things. And I got to think about where I want to go. Is this really my journey? Is this what I want to do? Like, it also taught me to have my own time. So I really, really appreciate my job and the exposure that it has also given to me. And it's also amazing because it also carves the way to my future, because I feel like I'm slowly working towards my dreams of being like an ambassador for South Africa, of being a great speaker, of being one of the amazing and big women in the events industry, because I'm actually working towards that. And I just enjoy my job. I really just enjoy my job, So yeah.
From how you speak, I can clearly see that you really, really love what you do, and you embrace it beautifully. Thank you so much for that, Refeloe. You actually explained my next question very well. Why is tourism important to you, and why is traveling important to you?
Like I said in the first when I responded that other time, that it's important to me because it puts food on the table. Tourism has become a part of my story. Like I'm currently writing a book, an autobiography about myself, and I realize how much it actually holds a bigger part of my autobiography. Like from the word go, from growing up and moving from one place to the other, and I realized how I have actually picked up characters and languages from the different places that I have actually been to. It has actually built me to be the woman that I am. Sometimes I feel like if I had been limited to growing up in one place and with the same people all the time, it doesn't work for everyone, but I feel like it has actually opened up like my horizon. It has really opened me up, So, and for the fact that I can be who I am today, it's because of tourism. The fact that I'm working, the fact that I have traveled, the fact that I have done a lot of things, the exposure and everything, it's all because of travel. And my family appreciates the fact that I am who I am, and the fact that everybody can be happy and like at home. And it's because of the tourism industry, And no matter how pleasant or great some of the stories may be, or how real they may be, I may not want them to be that real, but they are who I am. It's part of my story. And one of the other things that's important to me is that even though sometimes I travel for pleasure, it's a hobby. It's a hobby. I travel for pleasure, but for the fact that my spending also puts a plate on someone else's table also makes me feel so, so happy. So that's the reason why tourism is important to me. It's part of my story. It's who I am, and it's where I am going. So yeah.
Wow, that is very inspirational. That's beautiful, see.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
you explained how important tourism is to you, and in a very, very inspirational way. Why do you think is tourism important to South Africa?
To be honest, there is a few people that I know that are not in the tourism industry. Tourism is very, very broad, and it contributes to the country's economy in large. It creates jobs. A lot of people that I know are employed in the tourism industry. Whether they're an accountant, whether they're a waiter, an events coordinator, they're a cleaner. It's people that work in hotels, people that work in guest houses, restaurants. Like, tourism is like the epitome of the world. It's just holding the world. And tourism is part of the world. It's seeing the world. It's everything. So it is important to the country as well. And because it connects people. Like, I am so happy to have met the circle of people that I have, and it's all because of tourism. And it also creates a lot of cultural understanding and having people not think that they're superior than others. Once you get to travel, you get to realize that you either have it easy or you have it the hard way. Sometimes we are just stereotyped because we don't get to travel or we don't get to see things, and that's where tourism comes. I always tell people, travel, see the world, travel within South Africa, know where you come from, be able to relate to people. It also helps you to communicate with people from everywhere around South Africa in a different level because you've been there, you understand, or you've heard their stories. I feel like it's always better to hear a story firsthand from the person that has actually experienced it. So that's where travel actually plays a part. It brings people together. And to be honest, it also helps and develop places where that have tourist attractions. And I just want to say thank you to the 2010 World Cup. If it wasn't for that, our tourism, our infrastructure wouldn't have been where it is today. We wouldn't have those amazing stadiums. We wouldn't have these amazing roads. The hotels and the jobs. And it's amazing that some people were hired in the 2010 World Cup and they still actually were able to keep their jobs because of that. You realize what an impact travel and tourism actually has in our country. So it really, really carries the country. And with a COVID-19 having hit like this, a lot of people have been affected, and it's just so sad. And I'm just praying and hoping that everything can actually fall into place and people can be able to get their jobs back. So tourism does really play a really, really huge part in the country. So yeah.
I completely agree with you, Refeloe. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Brings me to my next question. You said there has been a lot of people affected, and as you know, 70% of women and 60% of youth in tourism has lost their jobs. So tell me, what would your words of encouragement be to those women in tourism?
I always say that women are the architects of society. So if women are not united, you can just imagine what the world, what the community, what the society is actually going through. It falls apart. We like the ones that close the holes. When once we're together, it's so firm. So firstly, I would like to compliment all the women, especially for the challenge that had been going around called #ChallengeAccepted. And you just saw how women were actually tagging each other, complimenting each other, giving each other words of encouragement. There is nothing as beautiful as that. And I don't want to lie, regardless of what has happened with the COVID-19, women have become closer. It's what I have experienced. It's what I've seen. It's social media has really gotten in our heads and told us that no, women are separated, women this, women that, women this. No, women are actually coming closer and closer and closer. It shows that out of a bad thing, something good can actually come out of that, you know. So I really want to compliment women on the unity that they have done, and being together and holding on each other. And you know what, I just want to say, once everything and the lockdown has been lifted, we need to take that spirit back into the workplace. We need to use it on our everyday lives. You know, there's nothing as beautiful as women that uplift each other. Women upliftment is just a word until we actually put it into action, and we have put it into action. And I just wanted to say, I saw like recently, there was a group of amazing women in the tourism industry, in events actually to be precise, and my mentor Taminga Dimeng being one of them. They have started there's like I think it's a website for women in tourism, like a database, yes, a database for women who are in tourism, who are in events, to email, who are in business as well, to email their what do you call whatever that they do, services that they render, to email it to them, so that anyone, once everything is up and running, if anyone is actually looking for like suppliers or anyone, then they can actually go on that system and actually get their suppliers from there. And that is actually for women, you know. And what I do as a woman as well is that, because I know that I'm surrounded by women who are in the travel industry, I also play my part by saying, listen, if I see a job post and I'm looking through for something that might work for me, and I see a job post, then I'm going to send it to the women in my circle. So I already know what my friends, what the women or the sisters that I have in my circle, I already know what they do. And if I'm scrolling through and I see something that relates to them, I actually send it through to them. So I say, let us hold each other. You know, this is just the beginning of an amazing thing. And let us just use whatever opportunities that we see, let's go for it. It's also a time to actually show your talents as well, you know. Growing up as well, I have also realized my talent. I was a poet, and I was presenting and this and that. And I started realizing my talent of speaking, and people would actually always tell me, you have a great voice, if I send someone a voice note. So by so doing, I actually enrolled in a training to practice voiceovers, you know. So at this time, since I'm home and my contract has ended and everything, I actually invested in equipment in order for me to do voiceovers. So I have been doing demos and I've been marketing myself. So I advise women out there to use their talents, use your hands, use your talents, use whatever that you have in the house if you're unable to actually invest in one, and let that work for you, so that when an opportunity arises, it actually finds you productive, you know, already in up and running, so that you don't have to click back into that, you know. So yeah, I advise women to use whatever resources that they have in this time. So yeah.
Very inspirational, Refeloe. You are a very inspiring woman. Thank you. Um, if you could have a power line to the president, what would your message or what would your question be to him on behalf of your women in tourism and the people that are suffering?
You know, from the conversations that I have had with the women that are surrounding me, it seems like we speak in the same voice, and a lot of them actually have the same request, and that is for the tourism industry to be funded after the lockdown, especially in places where people have really been hurt so badly, you know, so that people can sustain their jobs and people can get jobs, you know. So that is my request, and from the women as well. And like I mentioned earlier, about a database for people who have businesses. Some women don't have businesses, you know. Some women are employees, you know. I hope there can be a database now for women regardless, in the tourism industry, in any other industry, for them to be able to send their CVs, let me just say for now, send their CVs, and that will be kept, and it will be kept, like, it can be categorized according to skills, qualifications, qualities, so that the next time when everything is up and running and employers are looking for employees, especially women, they can actually take a look at that database, and it can be available to government departments, it can be available to private companies, but protocol should just be followed, just so that people's information is not just available to anyone and everyone, so that, because not everyone is going to have a laptop, not everyone is going to have internet, especially because people went back home to the rural areas and stuff like that. So if that is publicized and that people get an opportunity to send out their CV, at least it gives women hope. It gives people hope that maybe one day I'll also get a call to say, listen, we're looking for 10 waiters. And they were able to pick from that database. Not everyone has a business, but everyone has a CV. So I think that would also work for our country to say, listen, this is a base for women. Send out your qualifications, send out your CV. And if an employer is looking, we'll go through this according to qualifications, according to this, according to this. So I think that might actually work.
That is a great idea. That would help a lot of people. And just knowing that there's hope, there might be something to look forward to. I totally agree.
That is great.
Sadly, it brings me to my last question, Refeloe. What are your greatest hopes for after the lockdown lifts? You have told me that you would love to see women uplift each other. Tell me, what are your greatest hopes for after the lockdown lifts?
One of my biggest hopes after the lockdown has been lifted, I would love to get back in my hills, get out there, whether in the world, whether in the country, and just be part of an amazing team that will defibrillate the tourism industry. Because I have so much passion, and I know everybody else is so happy with the tourism industry going down like this. So I want to be part of an amazing team, and I hope an opportunity arises, so that I can prove myself, and I want to be an ambassador for South Africa. I want to share the stories of a South African child, a South African woman. I want to be able to invite people back into the country and say, listen, we are travel ready because we are tourism, Everybody hears stories about South Africa. And I feel now with the, the corona having hit, everyone has been impacted. But South Africa is travel ready. And I also encourage everyone to go out there, travel, see your country, let us spend in places that actually need to be woken up and risen up so that people can be able to sustain their jobs, let us travel. South Africa is travel ready, but also remember, we need to travel with protocols in place, So I really want to be an ambassador for South Africa, and I do believe that opportunity is definitely coming.